Hey, puff-tastic, pop-tastic, popcorn junkie-tastic, junkie pop-plastics. Hi, how are you all? Welcome to this trailer reaction. A trailer reaction to A Quiet Place, Day 1. A Quiet Place, come on, what not to like about that first film? Brilliantly clever use of sound or no sound. The horror was in the silence. The horror was then in the noise. How could you silently live? How do you have a baby without making any noise? How do you experience contractions? John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, the kids, the constraints, the living underground, the apocalyptic living in a kind of bunker, and yet at the same time the battered realism, the brilliant production design. It was a neat film. Some great set pieces. I'm thinking of the corn silo scene and stuff like that. I have to confess, I get a little bit weary of every single sort of not AI, but every single kind of monster or apocalyptic vision of a takeover or alien being a bit spidery. I'm thinking of Monsters. Why is it all a bit spidery? But there were great moments in it. There were great, absolutely brilliant moments. And it was sensational. It was one of those films where you've literally held your breath all the way through it. And then there was A Quiet Place 2, which kind of for a moment took us before A Quiet Place, the first film, and then brought us after that, and John Krasinski's dead, and how's Emily Blunt going to get on? And then we've got Cillian Murphy. He's a whole scary prospect, just Cillian Murphy's eyeballs are petrifying. So, very inventive, a very successful franchise. And what's neat about it is, well, it was kind of like it wasn't sort of based upon anything else. It was an original idea, as original as any of these ideas are. So this is A Quiet Place Day 1. This is essentially a sort of spin-off type, prequel type thing. What I'm really interested in is it's directed by Michael Sarnoski, or is it Sarnoski or Sarnoski? Michael Sarnoski, sorry. And he directed a film called The Pig, or Pig, starring Nick Cage, which I thought was a sensational movie. I thought it's Nick Cage's greatest screen performance in recent years. Incredibly layered, incredibly nuanced, incredibly detailed, very sort of somber, but very kind of efficient piece of filmmaking, Pig. So a good director is on this. John Krasinski is there, yet again, the story is from him. And we have a cast, which includes Lupita Nyong'o, who you will know from Us and Black Panther. And, she's sensational. I mean, she was brilliant in Us, petrifying. We've also got Joseph Quinn in there, who's the sort of breakthrough star from the more recent series of Stranger Things. And of course, we've got Alex Wolff in there. And I presume maybe from stills that I've seen, a bit of John Krasinski too. Day 1. That trailer was excellent. They didn't need that last shot. They didn't need that last shot of the kind of spidery men, very Stranger Things-y, Demogorgon-y, almost kind of falling through the glass there. I have to say, up until that point, I was in. And I was in principally because, brilliant, we're in busy Manhattan, New York, and as it lands and as it hits, I was getting, there's the sort of Cloverfield, and then there was 10 Cloverfield Lane. And I'm sort of feeling a similar thing with this. I don't know why. There's a similar sort of I don't know, grade or color to the filming and the imagery that makes me feel that it's kind of real. That shot of Lupita Nyong'o with her covered in sort of the debris or the dust of fallen blocks, and her just quietly looking down. I thought, again, this is where it's quite clever when you take something like a sort of franchise that this has become, which has successfully been sort of, you know, made a success of by John Krasinski, the creator of it, and then you hand it over to a different sort of set of eyes, ears, nose, and obviously you get the idea, but sort of creative sensibility in the form of a new director who comes from a slightly more art house perspective. And suddenly that's when you start to get really interesting results. So I was liking the subway, on the subway. That looked good. I'm liking that. And great. You know, she looks brilliant at the centre of it. Very jump scary. And again, playing with the quiet, clearly taking us right back to day one. I have to confess, I'm in on that, but they just didn't need that last shot.